How's it going, YouTube? My pool pumps, one of my timers have one out on it for the cleaner. The pool's working, cleaner's not. But I was gonna replace the cleaner timer. In the process, before I done that, I was thinking it'd be nice to be able to control it with Siri. Look on the internet, as I'm sure you have so far, nobody makes a Siri controlled pool timer box. So what I figured out, I went to an electronics supply store, found some relays that will work my pumps, and I can connect the smart switch to the relays to turn the pumps on. So in this video, I'm going to show you how I went about doing that. This is my current setup. I haven't taken it down yet. I haven't even tried this yet, so hopefully it's going to work. This is the only little system I have. It's not fancy. It's just currently it's 2 timers in the box with the filters and a regular pump and a booster pump. So I'm gonna get to it. Hey, well, I've gotten my box taken off the wall. As you can see, the old bolts right here. It was a much bigger box than I have here. Got this, it's a 6x6 enclosure. I found it at Lowe's. I think it's like $15 or something like that. Inside, I got these 2 contactors, which will trigger my pumps, or supply the power to the pumps. Let me see here. The yellow wires is the power coming in, comes down, goes to blue, the blue goes to one pump. These other yellow wires loop around, supplies power to this side, the blue goes out to the pump. I've linked them this way because I don't want my booster pump to come on without my main pump. This way my main pump has to be on to supply power to the booster. If you run the booster pump by itself, you cause a suction on your filters and you can crush your filters and cause all kinds of other issues. These red wires are going to be what triggers these contacts. Whenever you supply 120 on the side, this pulls down, allows the power to flow, turns on the pumps come on. These are going to be linked to the smart switch, which I have coming over here. I decided to move them farther away from that box. There's an easier place for me to access them, and it's close to a window, and I'm gonna get better Wi-Fi than I do on the corner over there. This is the red wires that was linked on the contactors. I'll hook this to my switch, normally like you would where a light bulb, a light or something would go, but this is gonna link to the contact, to the coil in the contact, allowing the contact to come on and power the pumps. I still have to run my power and neutral ground wires to switch and install the switches. That'll be my next step. This is what I got so far. Okay, well, coming up on the final stage of building this. Hasn't been too bad. A little thinking, a few little tricks. Not sure about some parts still, but it's coming on. I've tested it. I got my smart switches wired in. A few more wires in here. I'll go over it with you again, show you how everything's hooked up, and show you the switches, and show you turn it on. I still gotta link my switch to the Wi-Fi and get Siri to communicate, but everything hardware-wise is working. Speaking of hardware, this is the contactor I've used. You can see there, it's NTE Electronics, model number RLY 530-2-120. It's a 2-pole 120 volt coil, so it activates with 120 volts, but it handles up to 480 volts on the contact itself. That's what you'd want for if you run in a 220 pump like I am. This is a 30 amp. You may need a 40 or something like that, depending on the wattage, the amperage of your pumps. As far as the smart switch, I got the Leventon's HomeKit compatible. You can use Google, Alexa, whatever you decide to use. This is for HomeKit. It's Leventon DH15S. And here's the wiring once again. Again, these yellow wires coming back here. There's my 2 hot lines coming in to the top of the switch, to the contact. Blue wires out to the pump. Other yellow wires going over to the top of this contact for my booster pump, so it can only come on with this one. Blue wires out there. And then coming in to the top right here is L1, L2. You want to make sure that's where your power comes in. The bottom is T1 and T2 for your power going out. And for your coil, it's A1 is the hot, A2 is the ground. When your ground bars are down here, all the white wires. Speaking of that, that's one thing that's kind of held me up today. I wasn't sure of. I've asked a few people, and they told me just to go with it, but I may change it later. is that I don't have, coming in here, I have the 2 yellow wires and a green wire, which is my ground wire. I checked my breaker box, it goes to the ground side and the neutral side. I'm told neutral ground is the same thing, but I heard there was some risk with it, so I'm going to have to look into it some more. I may run a dedicated neutral wire and move this ground wire to being a ground wire for my switch. Right now I'm not running the ground wire on my switches. I may hook this to an earth ground. I'll figure that out later. Okay, well, that's the wiring in here. Now if I come over to where I move my switches, here are the HomeKit switches. So right now Siri is not hooked up, but everything's powered. So if I press this switch, it's going to activate that contact, turn on the swimming pool. So press the switch, pumps on. There's the pool. Everything comes on. This is my booster pump for my cleaner. I press that. My cleaner starts moving in the pool, which you probably can't see that in the video, but it's on. Turn it off with the booster. Turn off the pool. So hardware is there and working. Now it's just link it to Wi-Fi and see if Siri works. All right, well, it's official. I got a Siri controlled swimming pool. Siri's linked up, switches are working. I'll figure out how to do that in the video. I'll show you working with Siri here in a minute. I realized I forgot to mention a couple wires on here in case somebody was wondering, or anybody had any more questions on wiring. How am I getting the power to the smart switches? I thought about running a dedicated 120 line from another breaker to them, but then I figured that was too much work for now, and I was told it was okay to tap right off of one of the contactors, so that's what I did. I'll show you that. This something that's hot now, so I can't touch everything, but there's this black wire coming down the side right here. That's the power coming. So I got the 2 leads coming in, the hot wires, so I'm tapping off one of those leads going out to the switch there. This white wire here is my neutral wire for the switch, and then the green wire is the ground, which isn't hooked up just yet. So if there's any professional electricians out there, licensed electricians, that could tell me if I've done anything wrong here, or if it can answer my questions on should I run a dedicated neutral wire and separate the ground wire with its own ground wire, or is it okay like it is? Is it okay tapping the 120 off of one side of the contact, or should I run a dedicated 120 line from another breaker? If you can help me out with that, I'd appreciate it. And I'll put the covers on, get everything cleaned up, and finish it off showing you how Siri turns it on. All right, here's the demonstration with Siri turning the pumps on. There's the switches right there, the pumps, everything installed. I got my iPad here. It won't let me use the Hey Siri command while using the phone for the video, or the iPad for some reason. I don't know why, maybe because my phone's close by. Anyway, if I just push the button, I give it the command, and you're gonna see the pool come on. Turn on pool pump. There you go. It's running. You can turn on the cleaner. Turn on pool cleaner. Kind of hear the cleaner pump kick on. Tells you the cleaner is on. You can kind of see it moving around over there. I can also turn on the light, which you won't see during the daytime. Let me see. Turn on pool light. I didn't show you the wiring for the pool light because that's just a simple switch, same way you do in your house with your regular lights in your house. That's about it on that. There was some afterthoughts I had, thinking instead of having physical switches, I like having the physical switches near the pumps for convenience if I don't have the phone. But you can also put a bigger box over there near your contacts and use like a 4 or 6 plug outlet strip that has HomeKit in it, and turn on each thing individually, have it all closed in the box. You won't have the physical switches outside. And then I also thought about moving my switches over by my door where my light switch is. So I didn't think about this before. I would have done it to start with, because the conduit comes up right here, and that's where my light switch is. I could have put all 3 right there, just ran some wires down to the contacts. I didn't think about it. Another thing I have installed is this weather sensor for temperature and humidity. I have that out here by the pool mainly for a freeze protection. This is what I have right here. I don't see where the model number is, but anyway, you could find it. I have it set on a trigger to turn on the pool pumps at less than or equal to 30 degrees Fahrenheit. That'll keep my pool from freezing in the wintertime. Well, I guess that about finishes up. I will be doing an update video because I got a few thoughts running through my head of things I may change and improvements that I might do later on. But one other thing I wanted to mention is on my switches, another HomeKit trigger I have is I don't want to keep turning my pool on and off. But anyway, when the main pump is running and the booster pump is running, I have it set to when if I turn off the main pump, the booster pump goes off on the switch automatically through HomeKit trigger. That way the switch is not on for no reason. Yes, when I turn off this one, the booster pump automatically kicks off. But if I turn on the main one, the booster pump would come on at the same time as the main pump, and I don't like that. It might just be worry about like power surge or overload or whatever. May not happen, but for safety reasons, if this switch goes off, the second switch shuts off. So when I turn on the main pump, only the main pump comes on, not both pumps at one time. I will be running a new neutral wire. I was talking about I was running off the ground wire at the pumps right now. That's going to be a bit of work, but later on I'm going to be running that neutral wire, and I may move my switches by the door, but I kind of like having them here by the pumps for servicing purposes. I decide about that later. A few other little tricks I'm thinking about too. But if anybody else has some thoughts or see something I did wrong, see something I did good, or whichever, just give me some comments. Let me know what you think, and we'll keep on working and improving it. Thank you.